Hi, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about L-1 visas. My name is Ruby Powers. I'm a board-certified immigration attorney with Powers Law Group. We're going to do a general overview. This doesn't take the place of legal advice, but we want to give you some information to empower you. And if this sounds interesting or something that you can use or someone you know could use, we hope that it can benefit you, and feel free to pass this information on to others, and we always can provide a consultation. I've been practicing 16 years. The law firm's 15 years old, and I've written a couple books about law practice management. So I like business because I'm running a law firm. And so the L, we do a lot of L1As, L1Bs, and in the L1A context as well, the new office L. So the L1A and L1B are available for temporary intercompany transferees who work in managerial positions, like L1A, or specialized knowledge for the L1B. So just to give it some perspective, the L1A enables a U.S. employer to transfer an executive or manager from one of its affiliated foreign offices here to the United States. And the idea is that it enables a foreign company who doesn't maybe either have an office here to send one, to open a new one, or to just transfer an executive manager from one location to the next. There are some things to consider when we go through those details, so we'll get to that. The managerial capacity is referred to supervise and control or the work of professional employees and demand or the organization or a department, subdivision, function, or component organization. So in that respect, it doesn't have to have a lot of employees, but it could be for the department necessarily. And then that you manage an essential function of organization at a high level without direct supervision of others. That could also be the case. So for the specialized knowledge, that you have a lot of information and knowledge of a petitioning organization's product, service, research, equipment, techniques, management, or other interests in its application in international markets, or an advanced level of knowledge or expertise in the organization's process and procedures. The other requirements are, and this is where we get into little details of this, is that they had to have worked at least 1 year in the last years, through last 3 years before coming to the United States. And they're seeking to meet that requirement. So the L1A would be 1 year in the last 3 years. They work for the organization abroad, and they're going to come to be an executive or managerial capacity here in the United States. Or the L1B, 1 year in the last 3 years, worked for the foreign location, and then they're coming over here in specialized knowledge capacity. An individual could come over here on a L1B, for example, and switch to an L1A if you meet all the qualifications. And so there's a lot of flexibility. There's also a blanket L as well. So if you're the way to apply is you submit an I-129 with the required information, and then USCIS will adjudicate it. If you can do a premium processing for the L at the time of the recording or the time of this, which is in October 2024. You also can you could do a change of status or extension of stay as well. You can apply through here in the US, or you can also apply and get your visa while you're abroad. And so there's a lot of different potential options. Now, why would you do this? Well, it is a dual intent visa. It's one of few a dual intent. So it's a nice segue to potential green card option, legal permanent residency. And it allows spouses to work, and allows dependents to come in, unmarried dependents and children married under 21. So qualified employees coming can stay, usually there's like 1 year on the new office L, for example, and then there'll be additional increments. One thing to note is that the L1B can be maximum is 5 years, and L1A is maximum 7 years. But anytime that you spend outside of the country, you can recapture that. So generally what happens is you'll file that first one, you'll get maybe 1, 2 years, you keep going. And then towards that last one, you'll try to recapture whatever dates that you've been outside of the country, so that you can get your full 5 or 7 years. And so those are some things to consider. And like I said, the spouses are allowed to work, and the L2 and the unmarried children under 21 are allowed to be in the US. It is important to think about the children, especially because 21 is usually when they're like in college. And so transferring over to an F1 or J1 or maybe an E2 or something along those lines. Or trying to get your legal permanent residency before the children turn 21 on their green card, so they can obtain a green card before they turn 21. So those are all things to consider. The L2s are given the same period of stay as the employee, and sometimes it can get a little wonky when they're traveling not together, and the I-94s get a little bit confusing, but it is important to know how much time the primary L1 holder has. Can they recapture time, and trying to keep the rest of the family in sync. There was this whole thing about before the L2s, the spouses had to apply for work authorization. Now they don't. So that's been clarified, that now that they are virtue of having the L2 as a spouse, that they are able to work and not have to apply for work authorization anymore. Now, one of the things we like to do for L1s is the new office L. So imagine you have a company abroad, and you worked for the company 1 year in the last 3 years, and you're wanting to establish a new office. You could send someone or even yourself to come and make the new office in the United States if you've worked 1 year in the last 3 years for the foreign location, and you'll be coming over in that executive or managerial role. And you have a business plan, explain why you're making a new office in the United States. You will be given 1 year initially, and then you need to show growth and success to be able to get more time. But again, it'll be max up to 7 years. And generally, if you have a certain amount of employees and show that growth, this is a good segue for legal permanent residency. You usually apply after a couple of years of getting that initial L1 on new office L. If you have the appropriate growth and sort of requisite number of employees and success according to your business plan. So one thing about the new office L, what's really good about if you can go the route of L versus, like, let's say E2, for example, is that you do have to, what's good is there's dual intent, there's a better pathway to legal permanent residency. And of course, the L2 spouses can work, L2 children can come over. But and there's up to 7 years, and you can recapture that time. So there's a lot of really good benefits, but it's also a dual intent visa. So unlike E2, which is not dual intent. The thing is that you have to keep the home country company still successful and producing, etc. So if you are the primary owner and you move yourself over to the US, you just need to make sure that everything is still running successful abroad. Or you are moving back and forth, traveling back and forth between the two locations. So those are just things to consider with the L, that the company is still successful abroad and will remain so as you continue to extend the L. And there is an L1 blanket, and this is usually for very large companies, and that they have in the US. The petitioner has an office in the US. It's been doing business for 1 year, and the petitioner has 3 or more domestic or foreign branches. So this is more for large companies, being able to make it more simple to bring in foreign talent. So that is an overview of the L1A, L1B, and blanket L. Just wanted to give that information to you. Here at Powers Law Group, we have a lot of experience with these cases, like helping companies expand and grow and provide opportunities for their foreign talent to come to the United States. You can reach us at all these really fun places, from Facebook to X to our newsletter is out in English and Spanish every other week, Instagram, TikTok, you'll find us. And so that was what you need to know about the L1 visa. Later on in the month, we're going to talk about green cards for immediate relatives and what you need to know about humanitarian parole. So I hope you're having your pumpkin spice coffee and all that good stuff, and enjoying the cooler weather here in the US. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.